Hi, this is Dave Redder. This video is for a class of students in an introductory course on web development, and this particular assignment is for them to do what they've been doing locally, but do it on a server elsewhere. So I've got a DigitalOcean server, a low-end one that I've got several accounts on, one for each of the students. And then each student has a website that I've developed for them that has almost nothing on it. It has exactly on it what you see here. One index file, index.html, and its content looks like this. Very simple. They all look the same. So for my students, the thing I want you to do with this is to fix this so that it says something decent here. For example, your name index, and then customize this content. Should probably become Dave's content or whatever your name is, or something different than customize this content. And it needs to be something so you can tell that it's yours. So to do that, we need to go get this content right here, this page source. And we can actually get it, copy it, and paste it into NetBeans, which is what we're going to use, or I'm going to use for the examples here. There are many other things many people think that are much better. You use what you want to use. This is just simple to use, so that's why I'm using it. And I want to go over to the server and get the file that's there, bring it back to NetBeans on my local machine, edit it in NetBeans, and then save it and send it back to the server. So that's my goal. And in order to do that, we need to log into the server. The IP address of the server is 198.199.123.15. Your username is your first initial followed by your last name. Your password is the last 5 digits of your ONU account number. And the port number is 22 because we're using SFTP. And I'm just going to click on Quick Connect. Sometimes it connects quickly and sometimes it doesn't. This time it did. You'll notice here that I've got a folder called Website, and in that website folder there's an NB project file, and that's for the NetBeans project that I've created to do this. So you want to create a NetBeans project first before you come here, but don't put stuff in there. NetBeans will take care of that. Your folder is at the same level as the NetBeans project folder. Your content, I mean, is going to be at the same level as the website. So if we look in here, you'll see that in public HTML, we've got this index.html file. If you just grab that thing and drag it over here, it's connecting. It maybe had disconnected, but it's working on connecting, as you can see right there. And it had some difficulty doing that, but I think it's going to connect here in just a second. There, it's connecting again. It's connected, and it moved that file. Normally, it should do much quicker than that. If we have a problem, I can work on fixing that. But this file is the same as that file. Now I'm going to come over here to NetBeans, and you'll notice that I've got source files here, and that wasn't there before. I didn't show you that, but it's there now. And if I double click on that, you'll see that I get this file. So what I'm going to put is this, Dave Redder's index. And that way I'll know that it's my file that I'm getting, not some other file. So that's a test to check to see that everything is working properly. And then I've got this, and I'm just going to say Dave's content. I want to save that. And having saved it, now it's, if we look back at FileZilla, this file right here has that content. Notice it's time, 2:51:33 on April the 16th. This one is 2:32:50 or 2:32:29. So what I want to do is I want to replace this one with this one. I'm going to pull that over here, drop it, and it's trying to connect again. Notice it says I'm going to overwrite, or it's suggesting that I overwrite. If that's not clicked, you should click that. I'm going to click OK. Notice that ding you just might have heard has a little message that my computer gives me. It says transfer is finished. You may get those messages. Mine comes up in the lower right corner of the screen where you can't see on my screen. So notice here now that we've got this file. The time is different, but I think it's not refreshed. We probably could refresh that. And look, it's the 253 right there. Notice here it also gives you the permissions for this file. But now if and those are Unix permissions. Now if I come over here to the browser right here, you'll notice that it still says this, but I need to I need to reload it. Click on that. There it is. Dave Redder's index, Dave's content. That came from New York. So that's where the server is. So the point is that by doing this at FileZilla, I was able to grab a file from the server, bring it over to my local machine, the machine I'm working on, and then I was able to take that thing and edit it using NetBeans and take that, modify it to my liking, save the thing, come back over here and move it using FileZilla or the FTP client, scoot it over here, and then come back here and reload it, and I've got my content. That's the big picture. That's what I need you to do. So now we're in a position to take this thing that just looks pretty simple, I mean just this thing here, and we can see that we've made these modifications, and we can go mess with this doing whatever we want. For example, I could decide that I'd like to insert some CSS in here to, say, change the background color for this page. And so I'm just going to right click here, say New Cascading Style Sheet, and I'm going to just call it CSS Main, and click on Finish, and I've got this CSS file. And I'm going to, in here, I'm just going to say body background color colon, and I'll pick some beige. Let's pick beige. So this is something that I need to include then in this index.html. Let me save that like it is. I'm going to open this index file. I can click right there. I'm going to grab that CSS file and just drop it in here. And now I've got a link to that CSS file in here, and I'm going to save it. So now that all of this stuff has been saved, if I come over here to FileZilla and I take these, see it isn't in there, but I got to refresh it. Now they're both there, and I'm going to take both of those because this is new and this was modified to refer to that. So I'm going to take those both over and drag them and drop them over here. Notice it's working on that, and it wants to know whether to overwrite the index file, and yes, that's what I want to do. But the CSS file is in fact new, so it didn't need any advice about how to deal with that. And so now if we come over here and I reload this, and we took care of this problem or this update. So we can go over here and do this all day long. We can come into NetBeans, we can modify the HTML, we can modify the CSS, we can add a bunch of things. Right click here, new. I can put a new PHP file in, I can put in JavaScript, I can do all kinds of things, many of which we're not going to talk about in this class, but PHP files are coming up soon, and it's pretty cool what you can do with them. So this whole platform with NetBeans or some good IDE with FileZilla attached to your server, and with a server and a server account and FTP, choosing VSFTP if that becomes any value to you, allows us then to create pretty decent content, or actually pretty much any content you might want to create. So that brings an end to this discussion for this, and hopefully that will be useful to you in writing something more than just a trivial, a hello world kind of a page. I don't even care if your page says hello world on it, but That's the very minimum requirement for this assignment, and you probably won't get full credit for just plain old something like this that says hello world there and says hello world there. That's not going to get you much. So there we go, and I'll talk to you again on other important topics.